Have you ever wondered about the nature of evil? How does it manifest in historical figures, especially in times of war? It's a question that takes us into the realm of the subjective, where definitions can shift like shadows. At the heart of our exploration today is World War II, a period stained by the darkness of Nazi Germany, led by Adolf Hitler. This darkness was not just Hitler's doing, but also that of his military commanders and generals. These individuals, wielding significant power, played substantial roles in executing Hitler's grim orders, some with a level of ruthlessness that has led to their notoriety. We will be talking about 10 such generals, each involved in acts that have been condemned as egregious and inhuman. From Heinrich Himmler, the mastermind behind the Holocaust, to Otto Ohlendorf, a commander in the SS involved in mass murder, let's delve into history and explore the lives and actions of 10 notorious World War II generals from Adolf Hitler's regime. Each of these individuals ascended to power in unique ways, often leveraging political instability and personal ambition. Heinrich Himmler, a former chicken farmer and fertilizer salesman, used his organizational abilities to rise through the ranks of the SS, eventually becoming its leader. His ruthless efficiency and unwavering loyalty to Hitler made him indispensable. Hermann Göring, a World War I flying ace, used his charisma and military reputation to secure his position. He founded the Gestapo, the secret state police, and later commanded the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force. Erich von Manstein, a professional soldier, rose to prominence through his tactical genius on the battlefield. His innovative strategies were instrumental in several major victories, which earned him Hitler's trust and a promotion to Field Marshal. Erich Raeder, a career naval officer, ascended to the position of Grand Admiral by modernizing the German Navy and advocating for naval expansion, aligning with Hitler's ambitions. Wilhelm Keitel, a career soldier, rose to power as chief of the OKW. His willingness to execute Hitler's orders without question, despite his reservations, made him a trusted confidant. Alfred Jodl, a staff officer with a keen grasp of strategy, became chief of the operations staff of the OKW. His meticulous planning was crucial in implementing Hitler's military directives. Reinhard Heydrich, an ambitious naval officer, joined the SS and quickly rose through its ranks due to his ruthlessness and administrative skills. He later became the principal architect of the Holocaust. Kurt Daluege, a former engineer, joined the Nazi Party early and was a key player in establishing the SS. His brutal suppression of resistance movements cemented his position within the regime. Arthur Seyss-Inquart, a lawyer by profession, used his legal expertise to facilitate the Anschluss of Austria. His administrative abilities later made him a key figure in occupied territories. Otto Ohlendorf, an economist and lawyer, joined the SS and rose to command the Einsatzgruppen. His intellectual capabilities and ruthless efficiency made him a valuable asset to the regime. With power in hand, these generals became instrumental in executing Hitler's orders, leading to some of the darkest moments in human history. Now in control, these generals played pivotal roles in the Second World War. Let's examine their actions. Heinrich Himmler, although not a traditional military general, held a significant position as the head of the SS, the Schutzstaffel. He was the architect behind many of Hitler's most horrifying policies, most notably the Holocaust. Himmler's role was instrumental in the execution of these chilling atrocities, making him a figure of considerable infamy in the annals of history. Next we have Hermann Göring. As the commander of the Luftwaffe, the German Air Force, Göring too was deeply enmeshed in the war crimes committed during this period. He was a key player in the bombing of civilian populations, a direct violation of international law and a blatant disregard for human life. Erich von Manstein, a brilliant military strategist, was another general implicated in the war crimes of the era. During the invasion of the Soviet Union, von Manstein was responsible for the massacre of civilians and prisoners of war, his strategic genius overshadowed by his ruthless actions. Grand Admiral of the Kriegsmarine, the German Navy, Erich Raeder was involved in aggressive naval warfare. He commanded unrestricted submarine warfare, a controversial and brutal form of combat that often resulted in high civilian casualties. Wilhelm Keitel, as chief of the OKW, the Supreme High Command of the Armed Forces, played a central role in executing Hitler's orders. This included those orders related to war crimes and the treatment of prisoners of war, marking him as a key figure in the atrocities committed. Alfred Jodl, chief of the operations staff of the OKW, played a similar role, planning military campaigns and implementing Hitler's directives, many of which led directly to war crimes. Like Himmler, Reinhard Heydrich was not a general, but a high-ranking SS official. Known for his involvement in organizing the Holocaust and other atrocities, Heydrich was a key player in the machinery of the Nazi state. Kurt Daluege, another SS officer, was involved in the brutal suppression of resistance movements and the perpetration of war crimes. His actions contributed to the reign of terror that characterized the Nazi regime. Arthur Seyss-Inquart, while not a military general, was a high-ranking Nazi official who implemented Hitler's policies, particularly in occupied territories. His role in these territories often involved the commission of atrocities. Lastly, Otto Ohlendorf, a commander in the SS, and the Einsatzgruppen, was directly involved in the mass murder of civilians, including Jews, in Eastern Europe. His actions stand out as some of the most horrifying of the era. The actions of these generals left a dark stain on humanity, but let's remember that the ultimate responsibility lies elsewhere. Scene script: how did these generals contribute to the atrocities committed during WA2? In their roles, these generals were not mere bystanders, but active participants in the war crimes. Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, was instrumental in executing Hitler's policies, including the Holocaust. His orders led to the systematic murder of 6 million Jews, a number so staggering it's difficult to fully grasp. Hermann Göring, the commander of the Luftwaffe, wasn't far behind in his involvement. He played a significant role in the bombing of civilian populations, a blatant violation of international law. His actions resulted in countless casualties and widespread destruction. Erich von Manstein, a skilled military strategist, was also implicated in war crimes. Under his command, civilians and prisoners of war were massacred during the invasion of the Soviet Union, marking one of the darkest chapters in history. Meanwhile, Erich Raeder, the Grand Admiral of the Kriegsmarine, oversaw aggressive naval warfare, including unrestricted submarine warfare, leading to the loss of many innocent lives. Wilhelm Keitel, the chief of the Supreme High Command of the Armed Forces, executed Hitler's orders, many of which were related to war crimes and inhumane treatment of prisoners of war. Alfred Jodl, the chief of the operations staff of the Supreme High Command, planned military campaigns that led to war crimes, showing the depth of his involvement. Reinhard Heydrich, a high-ranking SS official, and Kurt Daluege, another SS officer, were both deeply involved in organizing the Holocaust and suppressing resistance movements, leaving a trail of terror and death in their wake. Arthur Seyss-Inquart, a high-ranking Nazi official, was responsible for atrocities in occupied territories, while Otto Ohlendorf, a commander in the SS, was directly involved in the mass murder of civilians, including Jews, in Eastern Europe. Each of these individuals played a significant role in the war crimes of World War II, actively contributing to the horrors that unfolded. It's hard to comprehend the scale of these horrors, but the reality is that they were orchestrated by a wider system of power. So who carries the ultimate responsibility for these atrocities? This question, while seemingly simple, carries with it a weight that has been scrutinized and debated by historians and scholars for decades. Undoubtedly, the 10 men we've discussed were instrumental in implementing Hitler's policies and executing his orders. Their roles in the war and their involvement in the atrocities, from the Holocaust to the bombing of civilian populations, the massacre of prisoners of war, and the brutal suppression of resistance movements, are well documented. They were the cogs in the machine, the implementers of a darker vision. But the ultimate responsibility, that is a mantle that rests on the shoulders of Adolf Hitler and the broader machinery of the Nazi state. The generals, while complicit, were part of a larger system, a system that was built and orchestrated by Hitler himself. It was Hitler who rose to power, who manipulated the fear and resentment of the German people, who crafted the narrative of Aryan superiority and Jewish scapegoating. It was Hitler who declared war, who ordered the invasions, who demanded the extermination camps. But Hitler did not act alone. The Nazi state, with its bureaucracies and institutions, its propaganda machine, its education system, and its police force, all played a part in enabling and enacting Hitler's vision. This broader machinery of the Nazi state was complicit in the atrocities, not just in their execution, but in their conception and their perpetuation. So, while we discuss the actions of these 10 men, let's not lose sight of the larger picture. They were part of a system that was designed and directed by Hitler, a system that was enabled and enacted by the Nazi state. While it's crucial to remember these individuals' actions, let's not forget the broader machinery of the Nazi state that made these atrocities possible. The ultimate responsibility for the atrocities of the Nazi regime rests not on the shoulders of 10 men, but on a system of hatred, fear, and brutality that was built and maintained by Hitler and the Nazi state.